Hello, my friends. Today I would like to talk about breathing. For me, this started with a book called The Breath from James Nestor. I mean, when you're a cranial psychotherapist, you deal a lot with breathing. You treat a lot the diaphragm, all the diaphragms, and you care for breath. And you know that the breath also has a connection to primary respiration, secondary and primary respiration. But I went deeper into the topic with this book from James Nestor, describing a lot the mechanism of breathing in terms of mouth breathing versus nose breathing. So to summarize the whole book, you should care always for nose breathing and for the intake of air through the upper airways and open upper airways, not to compromise the exchange of O2 and CO2 in the body, because at the end, the release of oxygen in the tissue and the intake of CO2 out of the tissue into the blood is not only related to the oxygen amount in the air, but also the way and the amount the CO2 in the blood. So this is quite a complicated chemical circumstance, but the bottom line is care for breathing and the way you breathe out CO2. And if you breathe a lot over the mouth, then there's more CO2 leaving the body, and then there's not an optimal release of O2 or oxygen into the tissue. So that's why people that breathe a lot over the mouth might feel very tired and not very nourished by oxygen at the end of the day. So this is one aspect. The other aspect is the whole story about the diaphragm. The diaphragm is between the autonomous nervous system and the central nervous system. So it's an organ or a structure that can be used to influence the autonomous nervous system by will. So if you have a sympathetic reaction, you calm down your breathing, and this has an impact from your brain, from your mind, from your cortex down to the autonomous reactions. We all know that. Breathing techniques out of yoga or out of modern fashionable theories like Wim Hof or Buteyko, they all stress breathe slower, breathe consciously, and be mindful of the whole rhythm. So for a moving diaphragm, you need a relaxed fascia and relaxed muscles in the diaphragm, so that this movement of breathing in, breathing out of the diaphragm can happen properly. Otherwise, there's no need of breathing techniques. So I think the first thing we should do in our practices is to check how are our clients breathing. They should be breathing in the belly, and there should be breathing of the rib cage. So rib cage should move, and especially in the exhalation, there should be movement of both parts. breathing shouldn't be overreacted or too much, so the movement shouldn't be too wide or too expanded, because then you lose a lot of CO2 again. But it should be natural, but from a point of view of relaxation and optimal exchange of gases, you should have a constant slow breathe and outtake. And you have that when you breathe 6 seconds in and 6 seconds out. Many theories say you should prolong your exhalation to rise the parasympathetic reactions. That's true. But in our clients, first, we have to care for a moving diaphragm. And before you start treating, be aware that the diaphragm is also the location where trauma can be stored. So trauma release is often connected with treatments of diaphragms. The preceded therapists of you know this. For me, the best way to start very smoothly working with the diaphragm is not with the classical diaphragm posture that you put your hands on the rib cage and work there, but to do it in a biodynamic way, going back to the embryologic state where you still had the pluripericardial peritoneal coelom. So a unified coelom where you didn't have any diaphragm between the thorax and the abdomen. So there was this coelom connecting all the upper and lower caves in the body, and the diaphragm divides the thorax and the abdomen. So in this posture, we lay one hand below the diaphragm and one hand above the diaphragm, and then we go on our fluid body and then relax, do all this settlement and connection to primary respiration and stillness. And then we go back to that time where there was no diaphragm, and we feel the exchange of flow through this whole coelom. And this relaxes all the caves in the body. Try it. And this is, for me, a very good start to do diaphragm relaxation work. On top of that, you can do anything you like. So I'm talking already quite a bit, but as we stop here, I'm sure I will continue doing some more videos about breathing, but for the day, it was this. So thank you for listening, and yeah, try the posture and see what comes up. Thank you. Bye-bye.